ha. Yenda Ajingwa ya dear papa. That was excellent. Ajingo is one of the finest hosts of entertainment program. Ewo Oman Ganemu. Wababa and Sashe Kakra. Nti Yanino ensu edinkita ho. Timuti Ajingwa. Baby Obia Yame and Kano program no so ye kama. Enche na mene lawyer na namwa of Wise Smart Solicitors bidding komo and some people honti memma lawyer akwaba na yentoa yedwumede no suteu na yenhwe napos nsema ewo ho fano ye immigration nsem no ewo hia papa because dani de nyina no wo obi manso a ensem no do so papa. It is not like when you are living in your own corridors and I say your origin of your country. But uba baby na ohon hihye no send tina you have to comply until you will be even compliance. And no we immigration system na dani de nyina they're subject to changes most of times, especially when the legal matters is getting through the corridors of ye arena. Ye share napos so share the issues on board. There are certain changes in the immigration rules. But tembia kromha ade taisesa bebre na immigration sensem eno taisesa papa because you be residing in some of this country. There must be rules and regulations you obey me apply. Nti eno ho nsem ena lawyer nanamwa ewa ha amene no eba bedi ho kita ho. Nti mama na kwaba na ya toa edwumede no so ewo Hotdigitalonline UK. Nti nana mama kwaba na what is saying?
Yeah, Mia.
Bibia Boko.
Yes, what Tom.
Why smart for then a coso?
Oh, Nyamia Tom. Near Answer Medica and I can't near coso was smart. We know me person me fast acquaintance so the accident Yame. Ewo abambo ni shesopa or their share yina so. Ebusia for yina and huye. Adofo no musa wuti enso besen fasa akwan so echiam e nyame edimu Wise Man Solicitors management na ehun ye wo se me ba me fa wonchi akese ema adofo no nyina lawyer Wisdom baby a wo bia mense wo office summary a oriye adwuma lawyer Francis obia echiam nyina wo Yesu dim.
Oh amen. Na da pen Bibi Abana, Bibi most of times no, and immigration system the Danny Day in Ali and you said Bibi for Fraba, and then Abba.
Well, in Neno, Besse, small update be about it enter into politics, Kakra, and your politics per se, but also Chromohano, and as on Membiano. Decision about taking place, no, is being influenced by politicians.
Political decision.
Yes. Until we cannot live here and ignore the need for attention, respect in regard to what is actually going on.
That's right.
In our country. Particularly, say, say yes, on the 4th of July, no. UK are buying yes kakra ye to aba and say to aba dia na very very important say you be what is going on. Obi friend said nana I be to aba me ni party bia na which me arekwane party ko na me to aba na ma for your friend prime minister na obi say me recommend bibi man and I'm so in terms of politics, nana menya de ewo ho. Okay. Na mo no metimi egina so aka parties manifestos a efa immigration no. Eno ina wo begina so na wa hu se meto sa aba na emma sa papa ye a oba immigration sem efa me mabrabo ho etisen very very crucial. Okay. And you know emreninti me wo miensa 3 parties am pese me bobo so me share dan chirechire mu. Okay. Omo manifestos a efa immigration na afa nso wa famu aba se nyame na adom na so ba power ni a nhihye ode ebukwan mu efa immigration se eba mo ebeboa me se ebeboa me de mento aba no ye den ema no se emboa me de mento me hofo enti de di kan ye hwe conservatives manifesto na launch quite recently with respect to immigration aspect
okay
I want to assess they will reduce net migration by introducing a binding or legal gap. Conservatives.
Okay.
Which will be set on a number of work and family visa issued. The gap will fall every year. What they are trying to say is that net migration de nyama besisi akwemu a onwomba gap no it in this case to be restricted say every year bia no your person offer nkrofo efiama no na bia 20,000 or 20,000 omoma no emroso anye wente be gap na year bia so no mo reduce until this year offer 20,000 next year be bia 19,000 and doing that now just omo reduce net migration
okay
that's one of their manifesto respect to immigration. And I want to say visa fees will be increased and the students discount for migration health surcharge will be scrapped.
Okay.
Some back power.
Immigration health surcharge.
Immigration health there also students in the
IHS and
immigration surcharge.
Oh,
no IHS.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And students discount for that particular aspect. Just say nyame ya wan na to abama o metwa sa ade no.
Okay.
Students discount o metwa mu. In our so visa fee for family work and family no on so may increase fee no. May increase fee no. E bi on so almost say sa asalam na mo de call Rwanda no. On so the next month no omo de won be ko eho ina woma
Rwanda case
that's it Rwanda no asylum seekers what the won be ko ina afi so omo make sure say boat woma water boat na chi nso no omo any wo be din no
okay
this is about consecutive manifesto related to immigration.
Okay.
Now, Labor also says central pledge is to set up a new border security command to tackle organized criminal gangs who are behind the small boats crossing the channel. And the new Labor also says implementing new border security.
Okay.
Sa illegal anasa asylum seekers wo mama fa boat so a wo bakrum ha no on won be fe so papa se na be ya o ntimi emfa sa kwan no so emba ha na criminal gangs a ete echi ni nyina so o be se o be set new border security a o ma ye hu ejuma and again no so mo say labor pledges to restore order to the asylum system to make it operate swiftly firmly and fairly. Okay. Because if say asylum seekers system na who seek asylum van sometimes it take 1 year 2 years before they make a decision. And yes into backlog no ebo more into Labour Party manifesto on just omutimi win number power on behwe sa ade no watoto nyuma nyina ye na say who seek asylum in Tempana, they say you have to make a decision over the mount. So I want to say, one for mounts, as a warrior. And that's in addition, home office case workers will be hired to clear the asylum backlog. Okay. Also, a high home office case workers, no, the so I can answer asylum issue where a towel be no. One cleaning now, that's it. Now, as soon as I they also plan to reform the point-based immigration system so that it will be fair and properly managed. Okay. Point-based system, no, another issue, and they see that there's no fairness and properly managed in that particular area. And so, almost manifesto no reassure. Particularly students, and say so power making sure say it will properly manage and in the terms of fairness. Not saying that reform actually they will also take it into a second look in terms of reform. Saying that they might be 2 years. In a share Green Party. We were saying I don't know for Green Party. Green Party I liked that party. Almost all policy no say first policy say Green Party pledges that they will end the hostile environment approach towards migrants in the UK. And say atete in nearby water migrants no a hostile environment. And now when they end into say nyame wan na yeto abama womba omama kese o wa ha yen tata o yen ye bia na kese asoma ajo. That's one. In a two, so they will push to abolish the minimum income requirement for family and spouse visas. And say no minimum income and yes, minimum income requirement for family and spouse visas a year 29,000. Consecutive for my yacht as by the end of this year, almost say increase it to 35,000. And next year's one I call 38,000 at least 700 or something.
38,000.
Yes.
From 29,000 to 30,000.
Yes. And you know, Green Party say oba abolition. Omi twesa ne mani nyina afiwo. Say na be ya.
And I guess 38,000, 29,000 be nefi.
O me yefiwo. That's their own.
Okay.
And immigration soft charge no so no almost so be abolition. As at now no.
But conservative you already buy. Election will be a casa or beauty about the issue.
Almost on best to more. Yes.
Or the 38,000.
That's 29,000. Then by the end of this year, no, about 35,000. Then next year, not just our land 38,000, 500 plus.
Okay.
Yeah, but Green Party and they say, Ometrim.
Okay.
Now, IHS we know so almost abolish, almost stop. And they will also abolish their no recourse to public funds. Almost some that Green Party. It didn't say what Green Party Yahoo. But do they have stand? That's the thing. The last one was the visa fees will be reduced to their actual cost. And the visa fee now consecutive for every 3 days. Green Party says you to abandon may reduce one then back back. Can be a back. Ain't you know, these are the machine that picket this first three way, you know, at appropriate time, no, we look at the other parties, you know. Ain't you know, a deep piano or your crew head piano, a baton, a deep pa, it has influence on your living here. And the Emra YCC, yeah, about on the 4th. Abana Kotono shares our issue with immigration. I look at that aspect. Say a hot party way a bar, a bebuame, beto abamana, a bebuame. Ubi wo ho be share ne living condition, ubi wo ho share ne housing, ubi wo ho share we enti. But so far as I'm concerned, I'm focusing on the immigration aspect. And you share parties are miensa, omoba ni on pesa mo ye no. Endi ye nyina fa adwen na ne ebeboa ye no. Ya to abaye den. Ama so ye nyina ko adwen ba kum say ye tuma Green Party no mai ya. Say ne asempa because omoba sa ne nyina we ye fio.
Okay. All right. In the line na one na what you can I just say Green Party for almost policy. I just say 38,000, 29,000, 35,000 near the now. No be if you not just near the threshold.
Yeah, the threshold.
Okay, just so be if you want no and allow and more can't one can think twice. If you think that they have the credibility, they have the stand, they have the zeal to win elections, and when they come, they will be able to discharge that duties now. It is viable. But in the meantime, you know, Conservative Party stands strong. Labour want to be the contender. Now, other subsidiary parties who are also vying to come, they are putting their messages across, whether it will be able to convince or to get to the down to the trading person. and also so beboa ntie na no eno no en check na me ne lawyer na mo why smart solicitors lawyer wisdom akawo me chichia nim se bia wo bia no nyame eno wedi ni ye ene busuafo nyina nyame nka ho why smart for 18 to 22 Ashwin Street Dalston London EH 3DL and baby amatofo na tum before we get into business now the main topic for today now I talk about how does the 10-year route in appendix long residence work into you the 10-year route no maybe sir lawyer say what is appendix long residence lawyer appendix long residence I don't know the
yes appendix long residence no is the immigration rules that enables a person with 10 continuous and lawful years of residence in the UK to apply for indefinite leave to remain. Okay. Say long resident ye mo akoro me fan say miensa. They can no appendix private life. Only 20 years.
20 years, okay.
In a year adult there's one aspect S3.
Okay.
Yes. And we know private life. So I was a long residence
for 10 years.
And I have also for young adult. Yes, young adult also. But this particular one, we are talking about 10 continuous and lawful years. Once appendix private life, you know, a year 20 years. Only year lawful. Only your unlawful one.
Unlawful one. But this is lawful.
So we are talking about the lawful one.
Okay.
Say what lawfully
10 years.
10 years.
Unabated.
Yes. No gap.
No gap.
Absence. 10 years. So for and a flow appendix long resident applicants they can do it. So appendix long resident is a immigration rules that enables a person with 10 continuous and lawful years of residence in the UK to apply for indefinite leave to remain. And you know, say uwa bakrumu ha no atna ha yemfa ne say uba bakrumu ha as a student. When in them we renew and na kunya 10 years. That just what na krumu ha lovely. When break we from fa pass name one the eba say uba ha as a visitor after 6 months and some what ni na no, we don't fall within that.
You fall in the private life.
That's it.
That's 20 years.
Yes, you will fall under this. So that's how it is.
Okay. So let's see the kind of leave count towards 10 years, not for residence.
Yes. Who said, sir, 10 years, no? Sometimes, no, most of the clients, no, make a little bit mistake.
Okay.
Also, me 10 years. Intimate me qualify for indefinite leave.
Yeah.
Obi who wants also share card na date in was na no also aka minya aka. There are certain leave bia we take into consideration, and that is it is allowed to be counted for that 10 years. So when you look at the long resident route, paragraph 11.1 now, it specifies that the 10 years must have been made up continuously for a period in which one, the applicant had permissions, except permission as a visitor, short-term student, or seasonal worker. 2, the applicant was exempt from immigration control, or the applicant was in the EU, UK as EEA national, or the family member of EEA national.
So these are the specifications.
These are the specifications. I said, answer now, ubetimi account to those period to be accepted. Say indeed you have lived the country 10 years continuously lawfully, then you must first be applicant who had permission.
Okay.
That's what I remember. In fact, one say, "Yem fan say yemi no, yaba krumu ha. Ono oba say student.
Yeah.
Inti what na krumu ha. When ya friend, yes, them fans 10 years. Mensuma me baha as a visitor. Yen na yama permission. But me dear no. After 6 months, into I don't have permission any longer. Into me 10 years in Ukraine, I don't qualify for that.
Okay.
But what they are now, when you have permission to enter and further leave to remain and extension, just say you have permission.
Okay.
Into woman, some no student, your friend, I went to now, this now spending what you can claim it as a friend legitimate period that was spending with her or can 10 years. Yes. Now my media no because me by as a visitor no me to me kind sad period no encounter you. That's it. So and I say me by ha no get the immigration control. I'm subject to immigration control such as like the AC in a yacheme near mammy bill. And I'm subject to immigration control bill. And to tell me, and I say, we call report. Those periods not in mean to me encounter and as a lawful resident. So,
I don't know the only exempt. Only if you,
yes, only if you won't come. Even though
I said, 20 years, that's or how pull me now, maybe that criminal aspect of being. Now, I saw more can come. Say, we have 1 year now, could they man? I said 12 months. Only if
no, we say we know a year 10 years and lawful resident. Continuous. 10 years, 10 continuous and lawful residents in the UK.
Okay.
What can Emma no so say we renew krata wa ko renew sa for kwampa so na da ba renew ba 10 years no wo na ye fra say what na ko ha 10 continuous lawful with 10 continuous and lawful years residence.
Okay.
Then mo say e ba say wo ba ha as a visitor na wan ko bi mu a you don't fall within this because what the no is a unlawful resident. Entino so what route now we become appendix private life.
Okay.
So there's a distinction.
Okay.
There's a distinction. Into one more periods I will be account towards 10 years lawful resident. Applicants are one permission. They give them permission, and I say they are exempt from immigration control. And as they are a national and as a family members. Oh, you're a visitor, you can't count that in for that. So that's how it is. It works.
All right, you can join us. Nana has been able to explain the distinction between who is a lawful resident, somebody who has lived in the UK for 10 years, renewable, without any absence, and somebody who was given a 6-month visa, who has come to stay in the UK and has forfeited all the rules and regulations to live in the UK for the past 20 years. Now you have that distinction between the person who came as a student or a short term, or somebody who or non through the European Economic Area, national, exercising the right of residence, and also under the Immigration European Economic Area. Into that person no stand a chance. Now students, seasonal worker, and also say a short term or a visitor. Some they have right to renew, because they came through legitimate means. Into no and a lawyer and say you can renew your visa and live in for 10 years, so that 10 years you apply. Now, the
before that,
okay.
I'm saying there's something I have to clarify.
You want to clarify? Okay.
Yeah.
Quickly.
In terms of seasonal workers and our students, they are exempt from that permission. Now, Erica, no.
Students, seasonal worker.
Students, now we are talking about the visitor. If you are a visitor, you cannot count that period as a lawful applicant. What continues 10 years.
Okay.
Right. You cannot do it because as a visitor, say you're more 6 months, whatever year, won't me renew.
Okay.
That's it. In a year, short-term student, if you are not about English language, only a short term, or just about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. That's 1 month.
That period, once we didn't know who we are, won't me renew. And so you cannot count it as a. So what can I have unlawfully? And you cannot claim it as a lawful resident in this particular route. In a seasonal one, also seasonal, sometimes you have 1 year, and as a 6 months, and also 2 years. Honestly, who are they won't me renew to me. And you also won't me encounter until those people are not permitted to be counted the period in which they have lived here as a apprentice, long resident under 10 years old.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
All right, into lawyer Nanamwa Edamine because Wise Smart 4 18 to 22 Ashton Street, Dalston, London EA 3DL. For 077 375 72905 077 375 72905 and 0208 016 5384 0208 016 5384. Into lawyer Nanamwa of Wise Smart Solicitors and Lawyer Wisdom, and she may change maybe I'm on 0790844 3338 0790844 3338 0208 123 6209. You do it to me after what join in live. Now you know it do come far the immigration issues in there. You do come how does the 10-year route in appendix long residence work? Send your appendix long residence na ye juma. Jozo between after 0790844 3338 0790844 3338 and also 0208 123 6209 0208 123 6209. Jeno and yedi ebedim komo. Inti go to me afre. Na ye share the issue on the possible, is it possible to qualify under 10-year route even if there are gaps in lawful residence? Nana, bofono, I guess possible. So we qualify under the 10-year route even say gaps between say bia what to me bia 180 days bia bim and I say due to traffic disruption and I say pandemic be and I also say military conflict and now what about circumstances and I say maybe something fashion my nana so no na what they say it is out
yes say only apostles one nantia ohun kan no e bon e wo
no
the whole lawyers nantia
no great.
Yeah, so the question is it possible to qualify under the 10-year rule even if there are gaps in lawful residence? Now the one thing we have to establish is there permitted period that you can spend outside the UK?
Okay.
That's the question. And it is saying you can't continuous 10 years resident in UK. So if it is continued, then we are having a long chain with that break.
Yeah.
It is a BSC. Now there's a break, and as a be call Ghana, now for spending some months in the year. Not just you have left the country for a particular and as a relevant period.
Okay.
So the question is that relevant period now was spending outside the Ghana, outside UK. No?
Okay.
Is it lawful? Obetimi aye, because we are looking at continuously.
Yeah.
Right. So let's look at Appendix Continuous Residence Rule. So Appendix Continuous Residence Rule states that continuous residence will be broken in the number of situations, including where a person is sentenced to imprisonment or was deported or was
post-money.
Okay, that's fine.
Hello, Kobo.
Nase.
Yeah, Kobo. Mpacho, what is it?
This is where a conveyor belt.
Lawyer, mo Mpacho be tiao.
Me Jose Nase.
Ya me ma kwa tete. Because here mienu. First case. Me want tafo mienu. Enkola no enya 7 years. Ana me so me ne me yire net me yire su ni krata. Enti me di kotumo a eno no ye ba ma me indefinite na ana 2 ye ba ma free wave. Ana de to su mienu. Me wie me 10 years no. 10 years me wie last month. But still aka 1 year me asana me matic card newu. Metimi akoji indefinite abra me card no 4th year ni yewu ye. Na just say like my complete last month. Eti me baba beji abra sa 1.5 years na ka. Ana me twa my card newu. Asana apply for indefinite. Me pacho manuato.
Okay. Na ya dasi. Lawyer NGO.
Yo, so Nanasa, the question is, how no illegally money crata, let him put that word. But by God grace, no which me about fra or her, I'm ofana atra her 7 years. Until we be say, which me so na when ya okrata na. Imrana chess say, about fra or her, now ofana tra continuously for 7 years. First, na 10 years. They say about 7 years. But me try ha continuously for 7 years. Obenya onone krata, but for na yebema indefinite leave to remain. So to me try so for 10 years and the obenya ne the British or qualify for registration and to get the British passport.
Okay.
Now, because abofra no watna 7 years, and as one could be 7 years, you have money indefinite street.
Okay.
Based on that, even though it doesn't matter, say Obaha only krata, but ubit me a abofra so as a parent, now also yamau leave to remain. In this case, Akwano, ma indefinite. Akwano be man indefinite. But wo de no ye be ma 2.5. 2.5. 12. They do back to 10 years. But all subject to other financial other requirements if you are able to meet. You do to 10 years route because at that time you are not allowed to work because you are illegal. You don't have documents and everything. So financial requirements you cannot be able to meet. The English requirement probably you may not be able to meet. Until the first time you over to 10 years route. After you more crack and now start year juma now if we would meet financial way now, then you can switch from 10 years route to 5 years route.
Okay.
Now just say instead of say
over years.
Over
4 times no. Because now you can meet the requirement.
That's it.
Because you are working now.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know the good thing is abofana trans 7 years. So the parent with that right to remain here can depend on the child to regularize their status, so that they also have the right to remain here.
Now, any questions to be said?
Back on
Okay.
And I too no also what continuous for 10 years. Nemo aka 1 year according to the BRP card. Aka 1 year. And you know or say BRP card no just say ebewu next year. But no or said oba hands aka when you 10 years into on train no committing a BRP card no. Okay. Date na was no emu ansa akodi announce no. There's a difference between the date that refers on the BRP card and the date that was granted to you from the beginning.
From the beginning, okay.
Most at times, no BRP way no because also your application a check answer here the about yen fasa date na wo bia no enka ho na mo day na first time na ye ma leave no sa grant letter no there's a date
okay
nti sa grant letter no e wo ho na say date no wo ho na hwe date no ato na wa ye fan say ye ma obia 15th May 2004 first time no 2004 on the ma right until 2004 no 5th May no o the bahas see 10 years na be 2024 May in this week you qualify but the date na wo biometric we no the say next year in as a date ni be don't take that date on the biometric card into consideration but the date that reflected on the decision letter no and no na eye we into oba na na say oba memma wo de sa date na wonya letter no letter wo first letter na ye grant no memma wo de aba na hwe date in say meti dia we are not going to wait our time for the next year because the biometric card date nature just next year say we can do the indefinite leave to remain straightforward.
Okay. All right. The question is NASA.
No, the question is NASA.
Okay. Do you know what can it be now? You call the next one.
Yes, sir. We are talking about is it possible to qualify under 10-year route even if there's a gap?
There's a gap, yeah.
We are looking at the rules and the case law. So is it true?
Yeah.
So we are looking at the appendix continued resident will state that continued resident will be broken in the number of situations include where a person is sentenced to imprisonment or was deported or was absent longer than permitted leave.
Okay.
So based on the appendix continued resident rule notice HSA say your sentence into prison. Not just say continued resident and then break it down. And now say you deport a break it down. And now say who be beyond the permitted leave no so they break it down.
That's all
that's it. Okay. So it will be difficult for you to go with the gaps now. But let's look at the case law. There's a court of appeal case in the huge case.
Okay.
Or no, so a court of appeal case now. A confirmation say it confirmed that an application may be granted even when there are period of overstaying.
Overstaying, okay.
Well, in the case law, no, so I can say even those who are overstaying now, the application may be granted. The application may be granted even when there are periods of overstay, provided it's a if clause. If the applicant has short gaps in lawful residence through making previous application out of date by no more than 28 calendar days before those gaps ended before 24th November 2016.
Okay.
Now, even though no gap no ewo hodie but you say case law no che say e betimi aye possible provided say wo no at the time na wo ye wo application is out of time application in our year so before 24th November 2026 say ban say dia na che say wo no it can be possible.
Okay.
So the fan say van me do yam fato ho so oba kromo ha 2004 yes it be 16th 2004 in our oba kromo ha so that time no 2004 no na mra na che say we break permitted leave no 28 days 28 days obetimi account to say a long valid resident.
Okay.
And it's within period no before 4th November 2016 you have 28 days.
Okay.
And it's who count to say permitted way now. Even though no overstay, but if it is not more than 28 days and it is be accepted according to the Court of Appeal case law now about huge case law only the ebetimi aye possible. Okay. That during that period on 24th November 2026 your man can say untimi ye absent more than 28 days. Yes. And you know to me again sana time I would your application that would be okay. Until says obey your application why went to me on submitting in 10 but if all within 28 days within that year you are okay. Right. In the other one also said if you have short gaps in lawful resident on or after 24th November the first one is before in a way on or after okay. There's a different thing on or after and before. So if you have a short gaps in lawful resident on or after 24th November 2016 but lease was granted in accordance with paragraph 39E. We said last year we talked about 39E of immigration rule and not just obeyment. You actually said after 2024 after 24th November 2026 who submit your application now follow within 14 days you can use paragraph 39E now to me I application out of time application. Okay. It is allowed. It is a period no it happened there. It doesn't matter say what application I late and as what was stay. Okay. In this case no who follow within that not just say that gap no is being considered as a permitted acceptable gap which me there then nemo say acquire more than that time in there before so submit your application before 24 after 24th November 2016 now who overstay more than 14 days there you can't count it. Okay. But what I said, you can't count it. So also who submit your application before 24th November 2016 there. So that period not 28 days. Okay. So who overstay more than 28 days so you can't count it. Okay. And the answer now you will be able to know say at the period may count may acceptable and not. As I said, what the banner checking in and every time I will application. Time quite yet because there's a technicality there. So once you need so before after me call it now for Obekwa not just a refuse. That is paragraph 39E. Paragraph 39E is talking about 14 days whereby you submitted your application out of time. Out of time, okay. That is after 24th November 2016. Okay. But before 24th September, before 24th November 2016, so we know the 28 days. Okay. 28 days. Just who live no a wukra within 28 days. They classify as okay. Okay. So there's a little bit. Why you careful? Be confused with that way. No. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Over to me at 07908443338. Na menelo ana na mwa waha. Your few questions the best send to him now. The qualifying period permitted to be absent from UK. Qualified period. Qualified period. Yes. Absent from UK. We say we are dealing with periods that are permitted and periods that are permitted because answer now by apply for indefinite there share most of the times passport in na oba kuma wa Ukraine because for you na bra into wo dey na kwa e be check so to kwan it is really stamp the be check dates I could to kwan time I oba ni na look at together all these things then they take into consideration. Hello.
Hello, Alpha.
Yeah,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Nice my name.
Okay.
Now where?
I said kakra.
Okay, you.
Pacho, they no like calling now can for omo ba omo what of the waha on do ni makra. Yes, been a qualify now with media.
Yes, sir. We know. Nana.
Where not Boniana?
Aye.
Now, what do you say? Bonia.
Onapo. Oh.
Bodi your phone, please.
Amate,
you also a friend of Amate.
Okay, Amate Onapo. And I will be sad now when ya. We didn't cry as a wunya cry. Also, beside
ye renew and your wow no so ni fi cry or no so te on and no so be den ti so ngo ya that means you nya oh enu na mpese o church ni kakra
okay yo yati ele factor that
yo yeah that's
okay
yeah amate the entire yen kan hono asem no because the topic is for 10-year lawful residents.
Yeah.
And until now, our attention was much focused on that. But that doesn't mean if you have any other question outside what we are with me, which may be said with natural. New Okano for under appendix private life.
The
20 years long resident 20 years. No. I'm not say as I said for 20 years. Now demonstrate say indeed you have lived continuously in the UK for 20 years. How will you do that? You have to demonstrate through a lot of documentation to confirm say indeed you have lived in the UK. Okay. Or no, it doesn't matter either it's lawful or unlawful.
They just want the requisite.
That's it.
And the demonstration that you have lived in the UK.
That's it.
Without any shadow.
Ain't no say or ha. Na say uni babia no atena kromo ha oba as a visit in a one corner. They say no abay overstay. Current law na say answer na obetumi nyaokrata no two things. Either say oba wa oba na obenya oba no so aye. Say ba say uni ba na say watena ha overstay ane dia. Emra na say you have to live here continuously for 20 years.
Okay.
And it's how to know so I think at the appropriate time, whether next week or something, we talk about that one also.
Similar to
when you're lawful and about unlawful. So there's two different until we appendix no appendix law resident 10 years root. In the appendix private life 20 years root. There's a different.
For information, that is the distinction. Yeah, but next week you will treat your own thing. And then I heard the issue on the compelling and compassionate person.
I'm so beside one question. Some questions say what permitted absent period. Now there have been some changes and we call it tradition
current changes
we have DB
okay, no problem.
Transitional way be almost say any singles absent started before 11th April 2024 must not be longer than 184 days.
184 days, okay.
And he said wo yemfa say wo ba kru mo ha 2004 in a say in 2004 no what the 10 years can about 2024 until you so ba kru mo ha 10th April 2004 until 10th April 2024 when you are 10 years until say 1 year no if you say you shouldn't absent yourself more than 184 days. Say ekoye say more than 184 then your absence cannot be taken into consideration.
Okay.
In the Bible say 10 years this for 1 year. Say Bible say for the whole 10 years and also there. Now say you shouldn't be more than 548 days. 548 days. If it is 10 years. Make sure say when you are 10 years before 11th April 2024. So when you are 10 years before 11th April 2024 there first year no 1 year it should be 184 days I was spending what amanone. And as a one person no say na the whole 10 years ni nyina no absent was spending outside the UK it shouldn't be 548 days.
Okay.
Say e ba say unya 10 years after 11th April 2024 ne dia then the permitted days not more than 180.
Okay.
And the difference in 4 days in the womb, but 4 days is very, very important. So Kumu Hano who was saying 1 hour crana, they will refuse you. Aha. And that is the only difference. So and I don't know. And yen shannon so our home. I was some they count no say departure time and our returning date. We have fun come.
Okay.
And the infant say, oh, Ghana, ebi alpha your friend, airline beer, what national say, also airline go how I say, oh, yeah, transition, oh, do I not good one, we do Ghana, probably 2 days, and we do Ghana.
The uncle,
Portugal, Egyptian, we need beer.
Yeah, Morocco.
If you are and go straight. We know, say, British. Airline and I cost 100 way and they obey myself the same day. Into so of us had any beer. No more of this would you walk panels who can talk to that 10 years period that your fan can. In our old balance, also your fan can. Now more open street in there. Time our bedroom and I want to come. And the young far or no, and she had you said that days of departure and return do not count towards the total data. Period account. And the young fan say, oh, call Ghana, who could be maybe 5 days. What could be 5 days? But before we do Ghana, we did 2 days or cancel. Into acquire 8 days. In our balance was near 2 days or cancel. Into acquire 10 days. And in this case, no, what you say, who call Ghana was spending 10 days? No,
okay.
2 days now, the fee have called the 2 days so I would not pass all the bus. It's not just 6 days now could do Ghana. 6 days no in Amremono and say what the year Juma.
Okay.
But what you say? 6 days in Amremo and say what the year Juma. Aha. Okay.
All right. Maybe so 2 questions.
Okay.
The compelling and compassionate personal circumstances exemptions. I don't know. How do you describe it?
Yeah, there are some exemptions. When your situation fall within that circumstances are when your situation fall with that we have to look at the compassionate grounds. As a beginning said in the beginning no can conflict
travel disruption
and the infant said 2020 no we are what you say to Ghana in a COVID na there because of COVID in it went me it was spending a lot of period
pandemic.
Yes. It was spending a lot of days and no exceptional circumstances. Into no you are exempt from that normal period now what spend Ghana because of the pandemic in it we if you want. And answer if you are no yare seriously would mean found back if you are no yare no hospital for 3 months or something. That's it. Into no you fall under exceptional circumstances. And answer if you are no could be a see it won't mean conflict or something or that's or not mean back or no home office our factors they will take into consideration. First they will look at whether the reason is credible and viable.
Okay.
No matter say asem na oka no kware na ase de wo hu sunsuan so. Afi so wan kwa say asem na oka no is it beyond your control? Ultimately ye ho hwe. Okay. And as a ban was it planned or not planned?
Okay.
And did they take all this into consideration before they come to conclusion say indeed you fall within exceptional circumstances.
Okay.
But no particular situation I follow say when refuse that. No. Into only there and so na year we problem be
and finally the eligibility requirements
okay. So legibility requirement for appendix 10 years root long resident is simple. Most of times so we now know what but you say no first and foremost you must meet the 10 years continuous lawful resident in the UK. You must meet the 10 years continuous resident in the UK. Continuous resident in the Mwasem na yede yen akano. In the first one, we have to meet that continuous resident. Okay. And you must not fall for refusal under the general grounds for refusal. Okay. You must not fall for refusal under general grounds for refusal. Okay. That's the requirement. Okay. In a two, no, you must pass the life in UK test. The life in UK test, no, a mandatory requirement. Except say we are above 65 years, or no, you are exempt from it. Okay. Except that we are above 65 years, you are exempt from it. Okay. And now we are below 18 years, you are exempt from it. Okay. And also in our phase, you must meet English requirement. That's level B1. These are the requirements. Legibility requirement echo won't me and yet or no. The question is say won't me meet here what next? So wait me meet here. They will put you back to limited leave. Okay. And in this case, indefinite no, but they will put you back there. And you won't know what won't meet here. Not time now so they say renewal. Don't try for indefinite. Anticipating say or may consider because when to me and yet when meeting English and not in this case no go for renewal. Extend your leave. Nampo emre natural. Which what they are yet over to yedo indefinite leave to remain no ebe mount. Now say one trot there or may refuse so must have the work back to leave to remain on. So that legibility requirement is very, very, very crucial. Okay. Very, very crucial.
All right. Enti law na namwa na yene din komono. Wise man solicitors that dey you dey can catch up say unhia immigration issues bia ban employment law ne immigration sense any other areas are on betumi aboa from ewo 077 375 72905 077-375-72905 and no 18 to 22 Ashwin Street, Dawson, London, EA 3DL. Lawyer Nalamwa and I'm in the lawyer, even though I say then I'll catch it from the
made a tier phone so asset say when you're marrying with ye. Sir, long rest a penny long rest that 10 years a little bit complicated, so I won't hear. Because calculation and technicality and he said near your boys now won't NCC super ma ye program with me afraid and as me to me book Monday whatever day I convenient be no my church who qualify. I'll let you know. It is better for you to get that sound understanding before you apply. Otherwise we see how we any no obeshegu nti yesrem pass we
that is lawyer and Scooby Ewaha and Jem Wetineka now or the old section no our life now bro Scooby Ewaha Wetineka and Jebia. Lawyer that's it. I mean sure. All right.
www